For a split second, it felt like the entire playoff run tilted on one weird, beautiful idea. One player doing something he's not supposed to do, and a defense having to decide whether to panic or freeze. That's the vibe in the Bay after that 23-19 win over the Eagles. One play is going to live on loop all week, and you know exactly which one I mean. We've seen Jauan Jennings throw a touchdown pass before, back in the Super Bowl to Christian McCaffrey. The ending hurt. But if something works, you don't bury it. You sharpen it. You save it for January, when one snap can swing an entire season. And this time, it landed with the kind of shock that makes a defense hesitate. Even Tom Brady on the broadcast sounded like he could smell it coming before most of us processed what was happening. Jennings explained it like it was simple. Secure the ball, execute, tuck it, make the defense think I'm running. Then he sees Christian leak open, and he delivers. Here's the thing, it wasn't just a cute gadget. That throw made Jennings the first player in NFL history with a perfect passer rating in multiple playoff games. And the Jennings to McCaffrey connection is basically undefeated. Every Jennings pass to Christian has gone for a touchdown. Think about that for a second. In January, you're begging for one clean edge. The Niners just found an edge nobody wants to account for. And it forces every coordinator to burn time in meetings just to protect against it. And even inside our own huddle, it didn't feel automatic. Trent Williams admitted he thought Jennings overthrew it, like the wind might have nudged it. Jennings said he felt the same fear off his hand until he heard the screams and realized McCaffrey had to make a great catch. That's playoff football. One ball in the air, and your season is either a highlight or a scar you carry all offseason. What makes it even crazier is it's not random. Jennings started as a quarterback at Blackman High School, then converted to receiver at Tennessee, and he's been a wideout ever since. On the play, he said he felt like he was quarterbacking again for a beat, then snapped back. I'm a receiver. I'm trying to get open for Brock Purdy. And in his normal role, he still produced 45 receiving yards and a touchdown, plus the grimy, physical blocking he's known for. The kind of work that keeps a drive alive when the play isn't perfect. If you're riding with the 49ers faithful, hit like, make sure you're subscribed, and drop your take in the comments, because this one's going to split people. Now the next chapter is Seattle. 2 weeks ago, in the final game of the 2025 regular season, the Seahawks held this offense to 3 points. Miserable game. The kind that makes you stare at the screen like, how are we this stuck? So yeah, the rematch is loaded, and the faithful hasn't forgotten how ugly that one felt. Jennings doesn't sound like someone carrying fear into this week. And honestly, that matters, because confidence travels through a locker room fast. But the biggest change isn't just pride, it's preparation. Seattle can't just study the standard Niners anymore. If they spend even one meeting accounting for a receiver throwing, Shanahan already got what he wanted. Hesitation. One beat of doubt can flip a red zone snap, turn a 3rd and long into a busted coverage, or give up a chunk play. And speaking of answers, let's talk pass rush, because that's been a sore spot at times. Monday morning, the Houston Texans released Darrell Taylor. He's a pass rusher who went on injured reserve in Week 9 with an ankle injury. Played only 4 games and 31 snaps. Then got activated last week, only to be released a week later. That sure looks like Houston didn't have plans to use him. And in this league, that's often when a contender starts asking, what's the downside? He was drafted in the 2nd round in 2020, and from 2021 through 2024, he logged at least 24 pressures. So there's real NFL production in the background, not just a name. So let's be real. Doesn't this fit San Francisco's current need? Generating consistent pressure has been a struggle for stretches, and in the wildcard win, only Keion White had multiple pressures. Against Philly, more Niners had 0 pressures than even 1. And when you're not affecting the quarterback, everything downstream gets stressed. Your coverage has to hold up longer. 3rd and long stops feeling like you're down. Drives drag. The defense survives instead of dictating. Taylor is a true edge rusher, and that matters for how you build passing downs. It could let White and Yetur Gross-Matos stay inside more often, where quick wins show up. It can also mean Bryce Huff doesn't have to burn as many run snaps. Another body, even if it's only 10 to 15 snaps, can take some of the workload off rookies, who have almost certainly hit a rookie wall this late in the season. And in the playoffs, you don't need a guy to play 60 snaps to matter. Give me one impact rep. One pressure that forces a rush throw is worth it. One hit that changes the cornerback's feet is worth it. The storyline writes itself too. Taylor was drafted in the second round in 2020 by the Seattle Seahawks. If he lands with the Niners, he's staring at the team that drafted him in the middle of the biggest week of the season. Not a hard sell. And the contract shouldn't be an automatic no. Taylor carries a $4.97 million cap number, and the Niners would likely only be on the hook for a fraction of that this late. Now, none of this is magic. It depends on what Taylor can actually give you coming off that ankle. But the logic is clean. Another edge body gives you flexibility. And flexibility is how you avoid snapping when the opponent starts stringing drives together. If you win this rematch, it's going to be on details, not vibes. But while we're talking pressure, the defense is also living in that tense space between hope and caution. After the Philly win, Kyle Shanahan was asked about opening Fred Warner's practice window this week. His answer was blunt, not very high. Warner has been working back from a dislocated and fractured right ankle suffered in Week 6. All year, the idea was that a deep postseason run could put a return on the table. Most realistically, if the Niners reached the NFC Championship game. But on a podcast, Warner made it clear that physically, he feels ready. He said he's ready whenever they're ready. There are boxes to check, approvals to get, and it isn't just his call. Still, he's pushing. He's training hard. He said he's back doing full football drills and everything. So time will tell. Reporters even caught a glimpse of him doing light sprinting on the side, and you know what that does to a fan's brain. The timeline is the problem. Opening the window usually means you want a full week of on-field work before a game. And this is a short turnaround into a Saturday matchup with the top-seeded Seahawks. That's not the ideal ramp for a linebacker returning from a serious ankle injury. That's why the debate is real. Warner changes everything. Communication, keys, energy, the calm in the middle of chaos. But rushing it can risk the player and the balance of the whole unit. Be honest, if he says he's ready, do you want them to let him go this weekend, or do you want them to protect the long game? And while we're arguing about what might come back, there's an absence that isn't coming back at all. George Kittle went down late in the second quarter against Philly, and the team has called it an Achilles tear. Season over. And it's the cruelest symbol of what this 2025 run has been. Survival through injury attrition that should have ended this story months ago. Kittle had already been on injured reserve earlier this year with a hamstring. Brandon Ayuk didn't play a snap all season with a knee injury. Ricky Pearsall has been in and out. Brock Purdy even missed 8 games with turf toe. And that doesn't even cover the defensive hits. Warner's ankle, Nick Bosa's knee. When the broadcast pointed out how hard the injury bug has bitten San Francisco, it didn't feel like hype. It felt like a running tally of every time this team got shoved and still refused to fold. So you're left with this weird mix of pride and disbelief. On paper, a team this battered shouldn't still be standing in January. Kittle going down is the microcosm. A guy who plays with his whole body getting pulled off the stage right when the story gets bigger. And it forces the hardest playoff question. Where do the reliable yards, the reliable blocks, the emotional spark come from when the red zone tones into a fistfight? And yet, they're still here. Jennings is the chaos you can control. Taylor is the kind of low-risk swing that might steal you 1 or 2 crucial reps. Warner is the hope you're trying to time perfectly. Kittle is the sacrifice that hurts but tightens the locker room. And Seattle is the next test in a journey that refuses to make sense. Now tell me this. How far can a team go when the bodies are banged up, but the chemistry is stubborn and the will is loud. Drop your take in the comments, and if you want daily red and gold coverage, like the video and subscribe, because this one isn't just football, it's a fight.